Alright, today I'm going to be installing this airfoil from Holley. And the reason why I went with this one, as opposed to all the other like screw-in ones, is these right here, the most part, have never been taken off. You might be able to take them off, perfectly fine. But some of them, those bolts were breaking, and then once you take that off, you got to replace that gasket underneath. So that one is less cost effective than the Holley. This was a little over 100, and the other ones you can find them for like 30, 40. But the reason why I did it this way is because this one just has these two little things on the bottom here where it just slides on, kind of locks it into place, and then once you put your air duct back on and tighten down the clamp, that really makes sure that it doesn't go anywhere. So the first thing I got to do is get this stuff out of the way. So let me do that real quick. Alright, so that's off. So now, this you can see where it would line up. This little one on the bottom should actually go right there, and then the other one should go down there. Let me double check. It might be the other way around, but that's how it looks to me. No. So by the looks of it, this thing can really only go on one way. So it is like this. Have that facing like this. Make sure this one catches the bottom. Come on, that work with me. Bottom one does not seem to want to go on. And in the directions, it said that you have to hold this in place while putting the air duct back on, and that's actually what holds that in its place. So but when I got this, every picture advertised this thing was literally sitting in the throttle body that wasn't even on an engine, and it was staying perfectly fine. So let me struggle, I guess, a little bit and see which way this thing actually does go in. Alright, so it does only go on one way. The little triangle piece goes on top, and that little nub thing goes on the bottom. It's kind of just hanging out here right now. The reason why I wouldn't go on is because this little tab on the bottom was actually bent upward when it wasn't supposed to be. So now this is going to be a pain in the ass to try getting this air duct back on, but it's got to get done. Right. On a side note, the directions did say that you have to cut this little rubber thing off here. I can already tell just by looking at it that it's going to have to be done. It says not all applications are going to need this, but for this one, you're definitely going to. Alright, so I got that little piece cut off, and I'm going to try putting this thing back on. Oh, this is gonna suck. Still should be in place. That's good. Honestly, it wasn't bad. You just have to make sure the bottom of this piece, you gotta kind of push back and then push it underneath the whole thing, and it should still just slide right on. Let me tighten this up. Make sure you tighten it, I guess more than you would for normal purposes, but either way, if this thing ever did get loose, it's definitely not big enough to be sucked up into the engine. However, if one of these things does like break off and snap off, then it's definitely gonna could be sucked up, but should be good. So I'm just gonna button all this stuff up, and then definitely going for a test drive. Why does everything gotta fight me? Come on. Maybe that's why I over tightened it. Come on. Get back on. Where do you think you're going? Really? What in the fuck is going on? This definitely has to be causing some sort of misalignment with this thing. See if this will slide over that way a little bit. Making sure that stays in place. What in the is this? For some reason now this thing don't want to line up right. I literally have everything back on how it's supposed to. So now this does not want to seat in here, and it does not want to stay. So that might be one issue that you might run into. Alright, so I finally just got this back on. Like I said, this might be something you run into, but if you do, just make sure that's all tight. Pull this down a little bit until this hole here has that hole in there, so you can put that plastic clip back in. Mine's out. I do have it somewhere, but that's it. Everything's plugged back in. I'll do one more check. That's back in. That's back in. Mass airflow is plugged back in. Intake air temperature plugged back in. That's all on there and even tight. I guess I'm just gonna start it up and see how it runs. Make sure it ain't running funny. This is gonna be the first time that this car has been started today, so might hesitate a little bit, but for the most part it's been pretty good lately. I'm just going to turn the key forward, turn it again just to make sure the fuel pressure is good. So I will say one thing is, so far when you do tighten those clamps down, it does seem like that thing is, for the most part, going to stay in place. And right now this thing's not running funny, you know, it's not jumping and it's not misfiring or anything. So I'm gonna let this thing warm up and then go for a test drive. Alright, time to head out for the test drive, see if I can feel a difference. So this exact one, Holley tested themselves, and they reported a 5.8 increase in horsepower. I'm just going to call it 6. So now that I've done this, if I see that it worked a little bit, I've been contemplating doing the coolant hose bypass, but I don't want to do it and just, you know, really start having like other things leaking, because the hoses have never really been touched. You know, they're all cracked, dry rotted, whatever. You start moving them, they're not. Sometimes they can basically just, you know, disintegrate in your hand, and that's another problem I really don't want to deal with right now. While it's a very easy issue, it's you know, like I said in recent videos, this car is literally pristine. Like, everything I do, as soon as I do it, something else breaks after, and it's almost like the car does it on purpose. So, you know, I got that going for me. But it does make sense, because when I went to go look at the headlight bulbs, you know, these style cars, it still has the sealed beam headlights, and the part number was, I think it was like H4666. So this is the Devil's Firebird. So I guess I can call it Fire Devil, Devil Bird, something. Like I said, I'm pretty much going to call it Christine at this point. So, so far, like I said, it's not misfiring, it's not doing anything weird. I am very curious to see if, you know, once I really start revving this thing out, if I'm going to be able to hear the air moving around that part. And, you know, hopefully if I do, it's not going to be annoying or anything like that. But, again, I also went with this style one too, because with the other ones that you screw in, it's still pretty much almost, you know, it's more of a flatter surface than this one. This one is like really, you know, narrow, skinny, and rounded. So when the air passes through it, it's just going to be completely smooth and evened out. Whereas the other one, it still, you know, is kind of a flatter surface. And with most, or pretty much all of the aftermarket throttle bodies for this car have that style one integrated into them. So, you know, that's what I was going to do at first. I was going to put a 52 millimeter Edelbrock throttle body on here. And after I read that, you know, the reports are showing 8 to 12 horsepower, I'd pretty much, you know, be saving $200 and just buy this airfoil and do the coolant hose bypass and have the same amount of power for $200 less. So that's my plan right now. You know, if for whatever reason this thing doesn't work out, that's still an option right now. Alright, so we got some corners coming up. Once I get on straightaway or something, to make sure there ain't no cops around here, I'm gonna hit it and hopefully see a difference. And I guess the main difference would be in throttle response, which this thing had pretty good, you know, response already. It's not some stupid drive-by-wire system that I absolutely hate. Alright, here we go. Yeah, that was going down a hill, so, I don't know, I think I do feel the difference. It's not really a difference that's gonna like throw you back in the seat, but you know, if you don't know anything about these cars, while you're in regular drive mode, right there, you know, you'll still have all your power and stuff like that. But once you put that down into 3, or for you Camaro guys, you'll have that second D after the one with the box in it. It'll be the same as this 3. That's pretty much drag mode for these cars. So once you put it in that, it's obviously it doesn't have the overdrive fourth gear, and it holds those first 3 gears longer, and it does make a difference. So you can definitely tell when you drop it down to that mode and floor, this thing really just takes off and goes. So now that I did a test hit on a hill, I want to do it on a straightaway, and I also want to do it from a very standstill to see if I can actually tell the difference, because this thing at a standstill anyway, once you barely tap the gas, you're freaking, you got whiplash. So I don't want to bore you guys, just keep talking while driving. So I'm gonna get to my destination, and then we'll pick it up from there. So I'm on a straightaway right now, and I'm just gonna give it one tiny little test hit. So far, like I said, there's a difference, but I can't really pinpoint what it is. It seems, is about as responsive, as it was before. So maybe, it's something that really helps, getting from a dig, like, just taking off. So hopefully we're gonna feel that. And as so far as I don't really think the exhaust sound has changed, and I don't really think I hear the air rushing past that part. I kind of hear something that doesn't sound like it did before, so I'm pretty sure it might be that, but it's not very loud at all. I really can't wait to get my new muffler on here. I've been trying for the last day, even today, to call places, see if I can have it put on, and everybody is booked. So make sure you stay tuned for that video, because this thing should be sounding pretty gnarly, hopefully within the next couple days. The Flowmaster 80 that's on here right now does not sound horrible by any means. It sounds really good idle and like just taking off, and even throughout the entire RPM range, but it still is a very, very muffled sound. And I was looking at flow charts of different mufflers, and I guess the stock muffler on these flows 80 CFM, and the one I plan on getting flows 165, while this 80 flows 110. So it's barely flowing better than the stock muffler, and that's, it's not good when you're paying over $100 for a muffler that's very, better than the stock. And this muffler has been only on this car for, I believe, around 2 years, and with how much this car has been sitting, this thing, it's like so very, very rusty, and it's disintegrating. Like all the rust spots, I can go up to it and just, the thing just flakes right off. So I'm gonna get that addressed, and hopefully it sounds better than this. Alright, I gotta hurry up here, but I did get my chance to stop. So now, here we go. Yeah, I think I feel a difference. Very noticeable difference, I guess. To me it looks like the speedometer is definitely moving faster than it used to, and I'm also still in just the regular drive mode. I'm not in the drag mode, I call it. But yeah, I think I can honestly say I feel a difference, and I hear a difference too. I'm not sure if So I don't hear any air coming, from the front or anything. There's no difference in sound there, but I do feel the exhaust is a little bit more, I guess, profound. I guess it's a slight difference, but it does sound a little bit better. Alright, I'm gonna finish my drive up here, and I'll catch back up to you when I get home to give you my final review of it. So that was installation and a little bit of a review for the Holley airfoil. You can pick these up for about $100, and again, I chose this one just because I didn't want to have to deal with all the other BS of screwing it in, doing all that stuff. But you will pay significantly, probably double the price of other ones. But so far, I can say this was $100 well spent. It's very, very easy to install. Like I said, I think it did increase the response and the power very, very little bit. It's not something where you're gonna feel like you just hit 100 shot of NOS or anything, but you probably will feel the difference, and you also will probably hear a slight exhaust tone difference. And these things, people think they're gimmicks mostly, and I can tell you this is, so far it works. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you keep subscribing and stay tuned, as I will be getting more things for this car. Maybe doing some tests. I'm definitely going to the drag strip. I'm actually going to try setting that up fairly soon, but I just want to make sure I get most of my the mods that I'm going to do out of the way before I do that, and just general stuff with the car. Let's look at the muffler. I got a pulley or something that's it chirps every like now and then, goes away, comes back, and it is on the right side. So the only pulleys that are on that side are the alternator, AC compressor, and the power steering pump, which supposedly has been replaced. I'm not sure about the pulley, but I think the belt tensioner pulleys at the very, very bottom of there, and I thought that's where the idler pulley was too, but it hasn't. I got a bunch of sensors that I got to put in. The crank sensor that has to be done from underneath the car. My ass is not fitting underneath there, and I really don't think I'm going to be able to get this thing up on ramps without scraping it or ripping my oil pan. Well, not the oil pan, but my front bumper that was literally just replaced and repainted. But I got that, the fuel pressure regulator. I already know that's going to be a headache. But that's going to wrap it up for this video, and see you next one.